wonderful speakers. We also have some seniors who will be sharing some reflections.
So, Betu Washin Medakapi, Chante Washin Nape, Chizape, Chante Shawi Imachapi, Sichongu Oyanke Himataha. So, what I just said is, hello relatives, I shake your hand with a good heart, and my name is Red Heart Woman, which is my Lakota name, Chante Shawi. And I said I come from the Sichongu Oyate, which is my reservation in South Dakota, Rosebud. So, good morning, Naka. I'm so happy to see you on our 7th annual Naka Feast Day. I remember when it was in its 2nd year going and there was like 120 students. And now we're close to 300, I believe. And it's just so beautiful to see all of you.
What is it that keeps kids engaged at Naka?
One is the relationships that they have with not only the other students in their class, but their teachers, and also like the community as a whole. So I think the sense and element of like community and relationship building is really strong. I think the second thing is our curriculum has some unique aspects to it. And you know, far and foremost, one of the major tenets of the school is really focused on language and culture. And so students have access to a variety of different languages like Navajo language, Lakota language, Spanish, Tiwa, and then also a Native American studies focus. So they're reading Native American literature, as well in the upper grades, the Indigenous core that focuses on Indigenous studies, both kind of like at a local level, but also a global level.
I think some of our generations before us talked about the two worlds idea. It seems to be a notion that's thrown away more and more in that it creates a schizophrenic identity for Native Americans. And there's this internal switch that we have. So when we come into the mainstream, we turn off who we are as Native Americans, stop speaking our language, we stop talking about our culture and our traditions. When we went to New Zealand, they don't have a switch. And so going into their ceremonies and at the same time coming back to the city is being who they are no matter what's going on.
I mean, when you were in junior high, did you kind of relate to other people as, oh, I'm from Isleta Pueblo kind of a thing?
During middle school, like a lot of my identity wasn't as secure. And so it was hard for me to introduce myself as like an Isleta Pueblo person because many people didn't know what it meant to be Isleta Pueblo or even Native American. And at the time, I didn't have confidence in explaining who I was. I think that's something that Naka has given me.
At Naka, I wasn't afraid to be who I was. I wasn't afraid to represent my tribe of Jemez, and I was just me.
Do you think he would have had that same self-confidence and that same idea that, hey, I can lead if he was going to a traditional school?
He didn't. He didn't have that. I could see that he was very lonely. He was bored. His academics were doing well, but he was just missing something. And he told me, Grandma, I'll be able to practice what I love doing, and that's music. That's being traditional. But not only that, is culture, but it gave him that really enjoyment of expressing himself for his talents that he's known for. And so that really opened up a lot of doors for him.
The two students that we've talked to have said that they really felt challenged by Naka and that your teachers and your advisors aren't afraid to push you. What does that mean to you?
Naka really set this standard to where we're already viewed as leaders. I think one thing about Naka is that we have a real push towards finding our own passions and then contributing to the community with that passion.
How do you think high school would have been different if you had just gone to a regular high school?
At Naka, they really believe in each and every one of the students. They don't just say, okay, here's the student body president, they're a good leader, the rest of the kids, we don't know them, so we don't care. You know what I mean? I guess I've really been taught to be a leader at Naka because they put you in all these roles. Like public speaking, for example, was one of the very first things that we all had to do. It didn't matter if you were scared to death to talk in front of people, they'd make you do it just because they knew that was the first step. And been able to meet everybody in my class and everybody's families, and I guess the opportunity to have another family at my school.
The school I went to before Naka, it was a public school, so they really
didn't give too much interest on us, on where our backgrounds were from.
We're going to get into some conjugations today, so pull out a piece of paper. Nawichazo.
In class learning language, I think one thing that really helps me is the fact that my teachers are really passionate about the language. And I feel comfortable with them, so I'm not afraid to try and mess up and learn from my own mistakes.
How do we know where to put yourself in there? What are the forms of self?
And it's very good, a sense of pride. It's not just a language class, it's a whole cultural immersion class. You learn other things other than language. We learn the songs, you learn part of the culture.
Hampa hecha, eapo, hampa. 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 Hampa, 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 hampa.
A few of my friends, they took a Tiwa class, and they're teaching me a little bit of that too. So like I only know how to speak like 2 words, but it's still pretty cool.
When you were setting up the school, why did you feel like it was important to bring that culture into the school?
There's a lot of folks that really saw that absent from schools. So if you think about the history of education, and for Native American students, there's really like this intentional effort to take language and culture out of the community, and that has had some really negative effects, right, over time in an educational setting. I can tell you like personally why I think it's important, but I can also tell you collectively, like just when we were asking them questions about like, what's worked well in education for your son or daughter, or what would you like to see in an ideal school, folks really drove into the idea of identity development and also feeling connected to a school. As we talked to parents and students, they either felt like most of them felt it wasn't present in the schools that they were going to, and therefore thought that students felt marginalized, and I think that they were looking for that sense of connection. So I would say the cultural aspects that we provide really solidify like a sense of belonging and connection for students and families. And I want to also really make sure that you understand like the family part is huge, right? Like we don't want to disconnect our students from their families, that it's like we actually focus on serving an entire family. In addition to that, not ever having a Native American teacher, counselor, principal, role model in my entire time in my K-12 experience in New Mexico, like that to me seems a little crazy.
I feel like it really helped me realize what I want to do in life.
I think Maggie's found her voice, her sense as a Native woman here.
So one of the students we spoke with said, NACA is interesting to them because compared to a normal high school, when you walk in the door here, you're viewed already as a leader. Why?
If you think about the overarching kind of, mission of the school is to really think about students and who would leave the school, ultimately, and take with them a perspective that helps them have this sense of commitment to community and service. And that's in any given kind of profession or role or family role that they play as they continue on after the school.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Julie Sconchin. I'm from Isleta Pueblo.
One thing is being able to speak comfortably in front of other people and being proud of your Native identity and really showing it with other people.
Probably the people I will have no choice but to remember are Junior Garcia and my Lakota class on our trip to South Dakota. We spent a whole week together exploring the different Lakota reservations and experiencing the culture.
I think they give us a lot of opportunities to really kind of find ourselves as leaders because everyone has a different leadership style.
I've been exposed to feast day, powwows, prayers, songs, and dances, and I realized that wasn't okay.
Not just so that all of us can grow up and be president of the United States or something, but just to be able to be comfortable in where you're coming from, comfortable wherever you end up after school, and comfortable in your ability to really show who you are and show people how you think. And just leadership is a great skill for anyone to have, and to be confident in that, even if you're not in a leadership position.
So I realized that it wasn't as different as my own culture, and being here has inspired me to get down to my own roots, which is something that I've never done before. I just hope through this experience, more kids like me, I guess you could say, attend NACA, and they can see the things that I have and experience the things that I have and see that just because you're a different culture, no one's going to treat you any different. Thank you.
I identify myself as a Native woman. So through learning my language, through participating in ceremonies, through doing ethnocultural leadership, that's something that's really, really, really important to me because it's who I am and it helps me identify who I am and it helps me identify the person I want to be. I want to be able to identify and know a lot about where I come from and who I come from. That helps me identify who I am. So culture is how I identify who I am.
This program is part of American Graduate. Let's make it happen. A public media initiative made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting.